What is up, guys? So today I want to talk about what happened yesterday and what got me to the point where I made a video. I had a couple little sneaky digs at a few people at Hedgehog Man, which was totally unwarranted. I was in the wrong, I'm my own worst enemy. You know, some things happen, and my brain just creates scenarios, and I start thinking that people are plotting against me, and it's all trauma. It's all mental health, what's been brought upon from years of living on the streets, you know, living in crack houses, seeing people get battered and stabbed and slashed and, you know, getting beat up myself, getting taxed all the time. Prison in the 90s, it was a brutal place. So it's damaging me. And that's what happened yesterday. Now, when I do the dark side videos, you get trolls with it. You know, people want to mess with you. It's par for the course, you know. I don't mind that. If people want to make videos about me, not a problem, you know. If I'm making videos about you, you're entitled to make one back about me. It's all in good fun, a bit of back and forth, having a laugh. And I get messages all the time, especially on TikTok. Now, I don't do, like, the videos what I do on YouTube, I don't do them on TikTok because it doesn't really get the views. On TikTok, I post about Doncaster, because if I do videos like this, it'll probably get like 5,000 views. If I do videos around Doncaster, it'll get 50,000 views. So that's what I do on TikTok. And I've got opinions about mass immigration, which I know not everybody agrees with, but it's my opinion. And so I get trolls messaging me saying, "Oh, if I see you in Donny, I'm going to stab you." To all the way to, "Do you want to do porn? Show us your knob." And it's just fucking, you know, weirdos messaging me. And that's what happened yesterday. I got a message from someone. Like, if it's just a message, personal message from someone I don't know, then I just ignore it. But it was from somebody who I recognized the name. I'm like, "Oh, I know that name." And he messaged me and he said, what was it now? And somebody's, I'm not going to mention his name, but I've been mentioning him on YouTube. I had a couple little digs at him, nothing mean or nasty, just funny little digs at him. And he's messaged me and says, "Oh, this guy's paying people like 500 quid to come and put it on you and video you for social media." So because it was a name I recognised, I thought, "Oh, I used to school with him." I thought, you know, he's not going to lie. But straight away I was like, well, maybe he's just messing around. So I just commented back and said, "Well, I'll meet you and we'll split the money," something funny like that. And I thought, yeah, that's it. But then he's messaged me back and he's like, "Oh, what you done to upset him, mate?" And so now I'm thinking, well, hang on a sec, this is real, you know. This is because I recognise his name. So I thought, why would somebody message someone and say that if it wasn't real, especially doubling down on it? So then that's when my brain starts working. That's when the chamber opens up, and within an hour I'd like convinced myself that, you know, I'd played out like 10 different scenarios, and they all end in me tragically dying and getting stabbed, and that's, you know, that's my brain at work. I wish it wasn't like that, but it is. And then I started thinking people were plotting against me, like Hedgehog Man, and I could say now it was just ridiculous. It was just total BS, but that's what it's like inside my head, and that's been brought on from years of trauma. Things like, I've definitely got anxiety, I know that. I've definitely got depression. I'm bipolar as fuck. One minute I'm laughing and happy, the next minute I'm fixing to throw myself off a building. So I've definitely probably got PTSD, because like if somebody like pulls out a knife, if somebody's holding a knife, even if it's just to cut some vegetables or something, then I freeze. I can't move, you know, I just freeze. And that is brought on because I've seen the damage, what a blade can do to another man. You know, I seen it at Doncaster Flats when I was an addict. One of the guys got caught, one of the drug dealers up there, he was a nutter, and somebody had nicked some money off him or nicked his stash, and he said to me, he says, "I know who's done it." So he says, "Don't tell him that I'm going to do him." I was like, "Oh, so you're going to get it." So I thought, well, I'm not fucking going to say out. And as I walked out, he's walked in, and you know, and I could have said, "Oh, he's going to fucking do it," but I didn't. I fucking minded my own business. I learned that in prison. Keep to yourself. And he's gone up there, and the guy's done him with a Stanley blade, and he's come back out, and his face, that I'll never forget that face. He'd been done with a Stanley blade all over his face. He had his hood up. He was like a zombie walking forward, as though he didn't know what was happening. And that's ingrained in my head forever. And that's the thing, most people growing up, their adolescent years, it was a good time. They've got fond memories. My memories are in prison, seeing the cellmate cut his own neck. I used to love watching vampire movies. I can't watch them now. Seeing people get slashed with razor blades, and seeing people die, seeing him pulling his dead body out of a cell where he's hung himself from the sink and the bed, being in a crack den, and a guy, one of my old mates, died. He had a dig and went over, and he died right there on the settee. And I could still see his face, pale as out, blue lips, and he was dead. And there's people just carrying on around him as though it was nothing. And that's what has brought me to this place where people mess with me. And sometimes, because like I say, if I get a message of some troll that I don't recognise, I just ignore it. But because I recognise the name, because I'm thinking, why would someone message someone that? But he was just messing around, no hard feelings. I totally took it the wrong way, and it has happened to me before. Now I think about it, the last time before I got clean, I was like 3 days into a detox that nearly killed me. I was coming off alcohol, Valium, Xanax, pregabalin, gabapentin, crack, and I was detoxing cold turkey. And it was like 3 days in. And there was like a couple local fatties around here, just sit around eating all day. They used to make fun of me because I was an addict. And they started messaging me when I was on like day 3. I was in a terrible state. And they're sending me messages saying, oh, there's a gang of lads coming. They're coming to your house. They're going to do you in. They think you've done this, or they think you've done that. And they was just messing with me. But I believed it, because I'm thinking, well, why would someone do that? Because I'm naive. I'm stupid. I think everybody's... I try and see the good in everybody, but there's just some people out there that, they think that sort of stuff's funny, and I bought into it, and then I was worried. I nearly went and scored, then because it was too much. I was like, I'm already struggling, I'm already detoxing, so, this is too much. Now there's people coming to beat me up, and it was all just phony. It was all just people messing around. But yeah, that's how I ended up in that position. Like I say, I totally overreacted, and I just feel a bit silly today. But moving forward, will I do dark side videos anymore? Because the thing is, obviously I've got mental health problems, and doing the dark side stuff, it is funny, it is a laugh. I can get big views if I really choose a shocking title, or I choose to, because you see, I choose my words carefully. Like if I mention Danny Christie or Paul Venice, I've never called anyone a nonce or a grass or a wrong'un or anything like that. But I might say stuff, what they've done in the past, what I don't agree with. But because I know that they could easily defeat me in combat. So I would never say out that would warrant somebody to get really offended and come after me. And that's why I choose my words carefully. But on the dark side, it's like, there's just a lot of negativity, and I don't get paid for it. So I was thinking yesterday, is it worth it? Even though it's just a tiny little thing what I've just blown totally out of proportion, can I, is it worth doing it where I'm sat there thinking these crazy things, thinking everybody's plotting against me? And I suppose if I was monetized, it probably would be worth it because I could get big views. But as it stands, it's really not. Because I do it because I like to have a laugh, because that's who I am as a person. I'm just a class clown. When I was at school, I never had any mental health problems. I never struggled to talk to people, or I would never be worried to go into a shop, or none of that stuff. I was really popular. I was one of the most popular people at school. Everybody liked me. I loved being me. And then I went out, dropped out of Doncaster High to walk around Doncaster High, and then I ended up on the rave scene. And then I went and chose not to choose life. I chose something else, and I had some heroin, and it all just went downhill after that. I lost everything. to the point where I was homeless on the street, and then I even lost that. I lost my liberty, and then I was in prison. So, you know, I've lost everything, and then I decided to finally get clean around 2010 or something. Built up everything I'd lost. Got back to a point where I was, yes, I'm on top. I've got a good job, you know, I've got money in the bank. I've got a partner. I've got everything I need. And then I relapsed, and it lost everything, gone within 6 months, and I was back on my arse again, and that's when I ended up last time having to detox from all that stuff, because I was dying. If I hadn't stopped then, there's no way I would have survived anymore. I was in a real bad state. I couldn't even walk. I was so fat, and I just couldn't see a way forward. I'm like, there's no way. I can't get out of this. And even if I do, I'm still a big fat horrible cunt. How am I gonna do it? It's impossible. But then I did it, so it wasn't impossible. I just thought it was. That's why I say I'm my own worst enemy. But yeah, I really appreciate the support, people, and I'm sure our old friend Joy Doopy, I'm sure he stuck the knife in. No, it doesn't bother me. But I did see that there was a lot of people supporting me, and it's people like that are helping me rediscover the old me. You know, that's why I make videos on here, because it helps me. And it helps me talk about my problems, and maybe people could see it and say, oh, I struggle with that as well. But yeah, I was totally in the wrong. I shouldn't have had those sneaky little digs. So if you would tell Hedgehog Man, I apologise. And he proved me wrong anyway. Because I said, because I thought he was plotting against me. So I said, oh, he don't care about anyone. He got that young lad into a beef with Andy Smith or something. He don't care about him. And then later on he did a podcast with him, so obviously he does care about him. So yeah, I was in the wrong. I created this whole thing inside my own head, which I do it all the fucking time. That's what it's like living in here. And the worst part is I can't even get any help. You know, you go to the doctors. I've been loads of times, and then when I walk in, they're like, oh, hello Ian, how are you? So what's the problem? And they're like, oh, well, let's see what we can do. And then as soon as I put my name up, drug addict, boom, oh, yeah, know what we can do. Oh, yeah, here's some metazapine, have a load of them, know what we can do. You know, because he's an addict, you can't give him any pills because he'll just take them all and get addicted. So there's no what they can do. And they even got to the point where I threatened to kill my whole family with a shotgun. I hadn't got a shotgun. I couldn't kill no one. But it was a cry for help, you know. I just wanted help. And the closest I got was, oh, yeah, we'll ring you. We'll have a word with the psychiatrist or whatever. And we'll ring you. But no one ever rang me. And I've been in positions where I remember when I went to the hospital, I was coughing up blood. I was suicidal. I was at death's door. I was like, I can't take this anymore. You know, I'm waking up every morning. I wish I hadn't. So I went to the hospital. I said, I fucking need to see someone. I want to see a crisis team now. You know, I'm not going until I see someone. And the crisis teams come out and said, oh, have you had any drugs or alcohol in the last 24 hours? Well, of course I have. I'm an addict. I can't function without them. Well, there's no what we can do. So what's the fucking point? And there's people moaning saying, oh, what do you expect? You just expect them to drop everything. Yeah, I do. That's what they're there for, isn't it? For people who are in a crisis. You don't get any more crisis than coughing up blood and suicidal and fucking miserable. But it wasn't enough. And the only time they actually do it is when you go up on a bridge or something and you actually, or you stab a copper or something just to get some attention. Then they might do something. And it's even worse now because of the mass immigration. You know, you can't even fucking go to the doctors for out now. It's a 9-month waiting list, and by the time it comes around, you're probably cleared up, or you better by that point. But that's a whole different video anyway. But yeah, moving forward, I might just do the dark side like once a week, and it's experience. They say you can't buy experience, and I've learned now. And no against the guy that sent me the message. I'm sure he thought it was a joke. And he said he'd watched one of my videos and he saw that I'd mentioned this guy, so he thought it'd be funny, and my brain just did the rest. But yeah, moving forward, I think I might do the dark side like once a week, because I do enjoy getting a few little jokes out, and if I see somebody acting a bit silly, I do like to to comment in. And like I say, if anyone wants to make a video about me, no problem. You say what you want about me, because you can't really. I terrorize myself every single day. You can't terrorize me more than I terrorize myself. So you can say what you want, but this one time, it was because I knew the guy. I fed into it, and if you'd have just like left it after that first message, then it probably wouldn't have gone any further. But because he doubled down and said, "Oh, what you done to him, mate?" I was like, "Oh man, this is real," but it wasn't. It was me. But anyway, yeah, that's what happened yesterday. I really appreciate the support, anybody who supported me. And like I said, it was a big misunderstanding. And I think moving forward, I'll just do one every Sunday, because I don't want to be known as a dark side creator, you know. There's plenty of people do it, like Hedgehog Man does it way better than I could. So you don't really need more people doing it, and I don't want to be going around town and people coming up to me and saying, "Oh, how's Brett May?" and all this. I don't even know the guy. But as more people come up to me and say, "Oh, what about Brett? What about Brett May?" He's fucking he's everybody's talking about Brett. He even made the news with the whole Danny Christie thing, or not the news, the Free Press in Doncaster. But yeah, and I want to do a podcast with Brett. He's asked me a couple times now. Well, he's asked me loads of times now, and I keep putting it off. But I do want to do one. I think it'll be an interesting podcast, you know. I don't want to do like the dark side one. I want to do a proper one, you know, talk about prison and growing up in Doncaster and what's the toughest jails it's been in and that sort of thing, because I can relate, you know. I've spent years behind the door in several different prisons, so I think it would be an interesting, good podcast, and I've just got to get my confidence up, you know. And it is getting better. I went to town yesterday or the day before. I had to get my bike fixed. I fucking fell off it again, and because the roads in Donny are so shit, they've knackered all my spokes on my bike. So I had to go take it into the workshop, and I thought I'd just have a walk around town, try and get out and go in shops. And see, before I got anxiety so bad I couldn't even get a taxi, because I'd have to have an interaction with a taxi driver. But I can now, you know. It's getting better all the time. And yeah, I'm trying to get out more, and I really need to start doing podcasts and getting my name out there. And I want to be recognised for motivating and helping people, not for squabbling online. Although I do enjoy it, I don't want that to define me, you know. Because like I said, there's loads of people who do it way better than me. But anyway, that's the video for today. I hope that clears it up. Thank you for the support, and subscribe to the channel. What's the other one? Oh yeah, press the thumbs up on the video. The Syndicate d'Initiative.